Today I'd like to talk about a race in Guild Wars that doesn't seem to be active in the game very much. Even though they look like strong, stoic warriors, I'm talking about the big bird people, the Tengu. I gotta say, the game doesn't really do the best job at telling players about this race. To learn about them, you kinda have to go out of your way to read about them. But in a way that does align with their society and cultural identity. It'll make more sense why once I explain their history. In fact, let's start with that, because it's really shaped who they are and how they interact with others. In ancient history, it's said that the Tengu once lived all across the world, and they were split into 5 different clans. The Yangchu and Sinsali from Shengzhe Island in Kantha, the Avikara from the Shiver Peak Mountains, the Kuromi from central Krita, and the Quetzal from the Tarnished Coast and the area now known as Drizzlewood Coast. Actually, technically there's 6 clans if you include the Kestrels, but they're not really like a true clan, they're kinda... whatever, more on them later. Most of recorded Tengu history starts with the fights between the Kanthan clans and their interactions with humans, which were never good. A lot of bad things happened. When the Jade Wind forced the humans to move to Shengzhe Island, the Sinsali felt threatened, so they massacred a human village and allegedly ate the bodies. The Sinsali almost went to war with the Yangchu clan for not joining them in committing that massacre, but the wise Yangchu chieftain was able to settle everyone down. But afterwards, the Sinsali would still fight the Yangchu at every chance they got, so that led to the 2 clans just hating each other. This hatred would only end after the humans made contact with the Yangchu and spread diseases to them, which infected a lot of their hatchlings. Forced to kill their own hatchlings to stop the spread, the Yangchu joined the Sinsali in their war against the humans. This war would go on for almost 2 centuries until War Minister Wona called a peace summit with the Tengu clan leaders, but the summit turned out to be a trap. You see, Wona intended to kill Master Togo, who was also in attendance, and blame the Sinsali for it. That would be the final straw for the Sinsali. They would go on forever hating the humans. The Yangchu would eventually make peace with the humans years later, but only temporarily, because it doesn't stop there. It actually gets worse. When the Dragon Empire founded the Ministry of Purity, they made it their mission to purge Kantha of all unwanted groups. They eventually set their sights on the Tengu, oppressing those who tried to keep the peace and killing those who would fight back. They then decided to just fully drive out all non-humans out of Kantha. Against the Kanthan military, the Tengu couldn't fight back anymore, so most of them had to flee north to Tyria. You starting to understand why they don't trust outsiders? Although some Tengu stayed in Kantha and managed to hide from the ministry. These Tengu would form a new clan called the Kestrels, and they would hide from the ministry deep within the Eklavad forest for many generations. Made up of former Yangchu and Sinsali, they set aside their differences in the better interest of surviving against the ministry. The next major event in Tengu history was the rising of Zaitan, or the Great Tsunami as the Tengu call it. When this happened, the Tengu clan saw the devastation that it brought to Tyria, and they decided that they needed to unite together. The Tengu clans united and set aside all their differences. They built their city, the Dominion of Winds, and then built a massive wall around it to keep all others out, probably in an effort to prevent their horrible past from repeating. Within the Dominion of Winds, they've pretty much done away with the old clans, and they've instead split into 4 houses so they can retain their old clan culture but still be united as one. As a whole, the Tengu remain pretty neutral on any world issue. They don't get involved in anything unless absolutely necessary. Due to their past, any decision they make has to be discussed at length with the High Masters or even with the Tengu Emperor himself, who has the ultimate final say. The Tengu have over time opened up to the idea of peace with other races. Many individual Tengu will try to get outside the walls to work with outsiders when they can. For example, there's a number of Tengu merchants or smiths that work outside the walls, but this is only because the Emperor allows it. However, there is one old Tengu clan that still exists beyond the Emperor's control, the Quetzal. They went and found themselves a new home in the Maguma jungle. Now, in modern times, the Quetzal might be the worst offenders when it comes to hating outsiders. They still to this day remain hostile to anyone who comes in contact with them. They even post warning signs around their territory that any trespassers will be attacked and killed on sight. And they've been this way ever since Guild Wars 1. Oh, and a fun Tengu fact for you. Back in the early development of the game, the Tengu were almost chosen as a playable race. And rumor has it the devs even started working on it. There were meshes, animations, even a mock-up of a character model was created. But they likely scrapped it all when they decided not to go with Tengu. Just rumors I've heard over the years though, so don't quote me on any of that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, or at least found it interesting. And if you didn't know about it, now you know.